of State Madeleine Albright, and the pin tells the story, Madam Secretary. You've got the Statue of Liberty on your lapel this morning. Obviously, what Emma Lazarus gifted us in the new Colossus at the foot of that statue, very much under review in the president's new policy. What is your concerns about the ban?
Every part of it, Chris, because what it is, in many ways, it's anti-American and what this country stands for. It is, we are a country that has been created and populated by people from other countries. And so the Statue of Liberty's message is, in fact, one of open arms and welcoming people. And I do think that there are tears in the eyes of the statue at the moment. And I do think that the whole aspect of this, in terms of deciding that our safety and security depends on keeping people out rather than welcoming people and understanding what this country is about. So I think it's just flat anti-American.
Okay, so speak to the Americans who are afraid. ISIS wants to kill us. They are all Muslims. We need to be more careful about Muslims. These are bad countries that sponsor terror. Refugees, ISIS has said they will infiltrate there into those programs. Then candidate Trump promised to keep us safe from that threat, and now he's making good on it. I am satisfied. Speak to that person.
Well, I think that part of it here is that it has not made America safer. Let me just say, I think this was the most unprepared plan that I've ever seen in terms of the lack of coordination with other parts of the government. We're seeing that every hour where various departments were not, in fact, notified. So unprepared. Also not clear about the unintended consequences of this decision. It has actually created more danger because there are countries that are now, in fact, not able to cooperate with us in terms of intelligence sharing or generally mistrust. There's going to be tit for tat where our people are kept out. For instance, we have troops in Iraq now, and so we have to worry about how they are going to be treated. And I think it's created chaos internationally. And then I think it is all not based on facts, undocumented. It is made up of various statements that don't make any sense. So I think it is one of the worst decisions, and then blaming a whole religion for this is truly outrageous and un-American. And I think the question is, there is danger in the world. There's no question about it. But all the facts that you've been presenting in terms of who are the ones that commit terrorist attacks, it is not people that come from those 7 countries. Why are the decisions made on the basis of what decisions? Is it because somebody has business in those countries? So of Arab countries, Muslim majority countries. So there are lots of questions that have not been answered. And part of what really bothers me is that this country is based on diversity and respecting diverse opinions. And what is happening is that this administration is making decisions based on the decisions of people that are uninformed about what is going on in the world.
Well, let's talk about that.
Well, disruption is interesting, Chris.
Right.
Destruction is bad.
Okay, so I take that distinction, but what's wrong with Sean Spicer saying, if you're not on the same page with the president and you work at the State Department, leave?
I think it is one of the really ridiculous statements, and there have been so many in the last few days, because part of what is important in our system is to hear people that have different views. The dissent channel is one of the most important parts of it. In many ways, it's kind of sacred to the Foreign Service because it gives people the opportunity to disagree and to have their views heard. The Secretary of State is supposed to take cognizance of that, meet with a lot of the people that have dissent. That's what this is about. And it would be useful if the people at the top of our government actually read the Constitution.
Now, there is an actual mechanism within the State Department for dissent. That's what the Secretary is referring to. You can Google it yourself. But let's extend that concept to another move from the White House to put Steve Bannon, a known sympathizer for white nationalism, with a seat at the table at the NSC, the National Security Council. What about that in terms of having a dissenting view that the president trusts in on those meetings?
Well, it's more complicated than that. I've been a part of those meetings when I was in the government. They are meetings that are based on the fact that the National Security Advisor is somebody that wants to hear the different views of the people that are there, people that have experience in national security, those from the State Department, the Defense Department, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, the intelligence agencies that come in and have discussions. And they do have diversity and dissent. That's what makes them so important. It is, however, to bring somebody in that is an extreme ideologue at a level that, in fact, is not allowing for that kind of information to people to express their views freely, and then decide that the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs and the intelligence agencies would only be invited if wanted. So it's a combination of those two decisions that undermines the National Security Council decision process that has been in place since 1947.
Bannon recently.
It doesn't mean that Bannon is not going to be listened to, but what he wants to do is destroy the state. That's
right.
what he said.
He said that, by the way, he said that verbatim. He said, "I am a Leninist." And it was interesting that he would pick a Russian, and not only a Russian, but, you know, Lenin, for those who haven't done their homework, you know, he was the author of Red Terror, who went through those who disagreed with his regime and put them to death or put them out and actually regretted it at the end of his life. An odd choice for Bannon. Interesting for him to offer that up. One last thing while I have you, Madam Secretary. This Holocaust Remembrance Day, obviously near and dear to your soul and that of all Americans. What did you make of the White House not mentioning the murder of Jews on Holocaust Remembrance Day?
I found that stunning also, because everybody knows how many Jews died in the Holocaust. There are those who want to deny that. I would be kind of surprised if people in the White House really thought that. I think that it was really unbelievable in terms of what day it was issued in, Holocaust Memorial Day, and not to understand the suffering. And, by the way, that one of the things that people remember about the United States is that during the 30s, a ship of Jews was turned away from America. Is that the things that we want to remember? Is how we turn people away from this country when they need help? So the combination is pretty bad, chaotic and disgusting.